Coming into Game 3, the Canucks knew their best players, especially their best forwards, needed to be their best in this game, and their power play had to figure out a way to contribute. And before the game, head coach Rick Tocchet said of those key players that maybe they were playing with a little bit of nerves. He wanted them to forget about the stage and just relax, and possibly being on the road in a hostile environment allowed them to do that. So much build-up around Game 1 in Vancouver, the first home playoff game in 9 years, and then trying to follow that up the following night. And this time around, they were able to get some early success. They scored first for the first time in this series. Vancouver led the NHL in first period goals. They also scored the first goal 53 times this season. They're certainly a lot more comfortable in that role. And the other thing Tocchet wanted to see from his players is to play north, to skate, and to get up ice quickly, and not to play as laterally. And you saw that early on. You also saw that on their power play entries. And then as far as those power plays were concerned, Elias Lindholm got elevated to PP1, and Brock Boeser got moved to the net front. Boeser made his presence felt. He was a screen on JT Miller's opening goal, and then Boeser himself, right at the edge of the crease, managed to score to give Vancouver a 2-0 lead, both goals on the power play. Miller really did try to drive the bus, especially early in this game. 3 shots on goal in the first period, 6 shots on goal throughout the game, and Boeser was really noticeable. He had the puck on his stick a lot and was able to play effectively at both ends of the ice. And Elias Pettersson also seemed to have a little more jump in his step, and I think he's going to be able to build off this game because this was clearly his best game of the series. He winds up with his first point of the series. So those forwards wind up with 4 points. As for Quinn Hughes, 2 assists in this game, 4 for the series. He now becomes the third Canuck ever with 20 points in his first 20 playoff games. And as far as NHL defensemen, he's back on one of those lists, which includes names like Orr and Leach and Potvin and Bork and some of the elite Hall of Famers from the NHL's history. So Quinn Hughes doing what he does, but interestingly enough, Nashville did everything they could to get a body on Hughes, and you have to believe that was part of the scouting report coming into the series for them. But for whatever reason, they really weren't able to get a body on him consistently in the first 2 games of this series. He was able to navigate through the neutral zone much more effectively, but this time they tried to get to him up ice. He took 3 big hits in the first period alone. In the second period, he got tackled by Evangelista behind the net. The 2 players went off on coincidental minors, so you could tell that Quinn Hughes was a real focus for the Predators in Game 3. And even though they got to him, they didn't rattle him. He played an extensive amount of minutes, and he played the way Quinn Hughes plays. He's just a comfortable, confident player, and there's not much that can rattle this kid. As for Casey DeSmith, who was looking for his first playoff victory, he delivered. And one of the big things for DeSmith was he needs to be good with his rebound control. That's an area where he's maybe not as consistent as, say, a Thatcher Demko. But he did a fabulous job in the first 2 periods of absorbing shots. And then later on, when Nashville started to apply some pressure, he was able to really control where rebounds went. In fact, between that and the Canucks' ability to block shots, DeSmith himself only needed to make 2 rebound saves in the entire game. And when you look at the third period, it certainly looked like the ice was tilted in Nashville's favor, much like it was in the third period in Game 2 in Vancouver's favor, but a little bit different here. While Nashville was able to outshoot Vancouver 15-3 in the third, in terms of high-quality chances, just scoring chances according to Natural Stat Trick, scoring chances were 4-2 in favor of Nashville, 1-0 as far as high dangers were concerned. So while they had a lot of zone time, it really didn't look as one-sided from a quality of scoring chances perspective as maybe what Vancouver was able to generate in the third period of Game 2. Nonetheless, Nashville was able to close this lead and take the shutout away, but if you're Casey DeSmith, you've got to feel really good about how you played today. And again, I mentioned the shot blocks. Nashville blocked 31 shots in Game 2. Guess how many Vancouver blocked tonight? 31. And you look at some key players. I mean, Nikita Zadorov blocked a number of shots. You've got a number of others in this game. Ian Cole blocked 5. Tyler Myers blocked 3. Teddy Bluger blocked 3. Even Dakota Joshua, I saw him reach out with his hand to block a shot early in this game or in the second period. This guy missed 6 weeks because of a broken hand, yet they were willing to sacrifice. Rick Tocchet, coming into the series, talked about being able to embrace the pain and enjoy the pain. And Andrew Brunette talked about that after Game 2. Vancouver felt that in this game. They absorbed some hits. They absorbed some block shots. They sacrificed. They did what they needed to do to get what they like to call a greasy road win. So the Canucks reestablish home ice advantage in this series with this game. Next game is on Sunday. We'll see if the Vancouver Canucks can take a commanding lead or if they come home back to Vancouver tied at 2 games apiece.